Welcome to ENCA. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Sarah, obviously during Hlaudi's tenure, the SABC did bleed a lot of money, a lot of mismanagement there, leading to its current position of being technically insolvent, according to the corporation. Now, what stage are we at in terms of a lot of stakeholders, namely and even including the communications minister, as well as unions and employees, saying that there has not been thorough consultation to basically lay off people and start a process of retrenchment? What is currently happening?
So I think just to take a step back, I think retrenchments must always be seen as a last resort. And like you say, across the sector, there's been absolute bloodletting when it comes to workers and widespread retrenchments. Absolutely. It seems that the SABC board has taken all the steps. It has, for the past 5 or 6 years, there have been huge bloated salary bills. At the moment, it stands at 1 manager for every 7 employees. And it seems like there's no other way to get around this massive state of employees at the SABC.
Is there any other, you said that it seems as though there is no other recourse left to the SABC. Is there none indeed? Have they not looked at other possible go-to strategies?
Well, one of the biggest things that the SABC board are waiting on is the government guarantee. That would see that there'd be income to cover all the costs and that they'd be able to start with their turnaround strategy. So the question we have to ask is, in whose interest is it to not give out a government guarantee? Who stands to win and take advantage of an SABC that is currently in crisis?
Well, tell us, who does stand to win in the instance of a government guarantee or the lack of it? Because obviously one would think that the main losers in this instance are obviously SABC employees as well as the main stakeholders in this entire value chain, which is South Africa, South African citizens, right? This is where you get and should get your information credibly and equitably.
Well, also with our elections coming up next year, political parties and politics have a big part to play in this whole situation. So at the moment, we have an SABC board that is currently quorate, which means that they can make decisions. But if 2 of those board members resign or are forced out, then we are left with a situation where we have to choose and go through a whole new process with an interim board. And that's a great place where politics can come in and people like the ANC can determine who they want on the SABC board.
Do you think there's a play right now by anyone in government or even the communications ministry to insert themselves at this point?
100%. Yeah. And I think that's why the communications ministry and the communications minister have been so vocal about the SABC not being able to retrench. And I think it was quite powerful that the SABC board, when the ANC made a statement saying you are not allowed to have any retrenchments, the SABC board stood up and said, but we are an independent body and we will make those decisions in line with what we see as best for the public broadcaster as a whole.
Is that a cynical and jaded perspective at this point? Is it warranted in light of the fact that we have this new dawn that's upon us?
I mean, cynicism or realism, I think there are a lot of different factions at play, and the unions have also made incredibly strong standpoints. So, like the Communication Workers Union, they have put forward that they will picket on Friday, and we, as Media Monitoring Africa, are very skeptical. Where were they when Motswaneng was playing around at the public broadcaster, earning 15.4 million rand as a salary as a COO? Where was the CWU then? But now all of a sudden they're coming to the fore with their grievances.
Where does this leave us in terms of the state of journalism in general, the state of the media landscape? We mentioned in the introduction that a Gupta-owned business was recently closed down, and we do have an unemployment crisis in the country, specifically within our industry of media and journalism. How does this bode for our industry?
It's very problematic. You know, as the South African public, so many of our people rely on the SABC for their news and information, and they're already struggling to handle, we need increased programming, we need increased news content. They're struggling to turn the SABC around as it is. Yeah. And now to look at having half the freelancers cut off cut off, and also permanent staff. It's a huge problem when the media sector is struggling as it is.
Thank you very much for your time. That was Media Monitoring Africa's Program Coordinator, Sarah Finlay.